we haven't checked in since spring football with the coach. Brady Hoke, Aztecs football coach, is joining us right now. Coach, how are you this morning?
I'm doing great, Steve. How you been?
I am doing great. We haven't checked in since spring ball, and just wanted to get a little update. I know there's a lot of good things happening. I saw that more Aztecs games are going to be on TV, Coach. So I guess outside of the Towson game, every other game people will be able to see. Is that correct?
That's exactly right, and hopefully we can also fill that stadium up in Carson at Dignity Health.
You know, this is we have so much excitement going on. We mentioned this earlier in the show today. It is hard to believe that we're just a year away from the opening of that new Aztec Stadium, and we just obviously, I know you're thrilled about it, and we're all thrilled about it here in San Diego. But as you mentioned, you still have one more year. Now, a year ago, there were no fans, but that's a different play this year. And so what's been the response as far as fans making the trip up, understanding that this is a temporary situation, but getting Aztecs fans out there, which they were not there, obviously, a year ago?
Yeah, well, and as you know, this is going to be exciting with the new stadium when that in 2022 when that thing opens up. I've been out there a couple times now, and it's really unbelievably the progress they've made, and it's helped so much with when you look at the recruiting and all those things, but. You know, we started our phase 3, phase 1 being winter conditioning, phase 2 being the spring ball. Was happy how we got through that and the development that we missed from a year ago. And so now we're in phase 3, and that's our summer program where Coach Hall, our strength coach, and the upperclassmen, this is where you find your edge of your. You really build an edge, and you look at your leadership from your upperclassmen, and it really. I just got off the field with the big guys. We're doing their part, conditioning, individual drills, and the development. A year ago, you think about it, and we had 6 days of spring, and so Coach Heck, a new coordinator, a lot of new guys on the staff, only had 6 days, and then. This time last year, we weren't allowed to be around the players. Mm-hmm. We weren't allowed to be in the office. So this is exciting because of the development, and the individual goals and positional goals and our team goals. And then, we really stress that, for the leadership, they'll get what we emphasize, 4-4, obviously, overall wasn't good enough. 4-2 in the league. Guys did a nice job, but, we got higher goals than just being 4-2.
Yeah, I mean, last year, as you said, was it really even a season? I mean, you and your coaching staff and your players did an unbelievable job just to have any semblance of a season a year ago, Coach. You mentioned there was no real build-up to the season. You added that Colorado game on last-second notice, somehow got penalized, and you didn't get an invite to a bowl game, which was just outrageous. You had to go to a stadium that was empty, that was not in San Diego. I mean, it was one thing after another. So I don't even look at 2020. So, it really wasn't even a season. And no disrespect, because the guys played hard. Coaches, I know, worked hard. But it's not something you can use as a gauge to where this Aztecs program is right now.
Well, and very proud of the guys and how they handled last year. You look at the COVID testing, you look at all those things, and really, I think we had 4,500 COVID tests and only 2 positives once we got going and rolling into the season. So, really proud of decisions and how our guys handled themselves as a team. I think that as we're moving forward, the installation, when you look at what you're doing on both sides of the ball and in the kicking game, and just how our guys have responded. And so we're excited. Obviously, it's a little different this year also because the month of June, usually you're with just your players and working camps. And so we've been doing some of the camps, a big one at SMU this past week. And at the same time, we've got official visits going on. So it's a little different than normal.
All right, let's talk about what you learned from spring practice. The big question going into spring practice, Coach, was the quarterback position. I know you haven't made any final decisions, but do you feel like there was any progress made as far as a clarification of your quarterback position out of spring practice?
Well, I don't think there's any doubt that having a whole spring and having the three guys compete, Lucas Johnson, Jordan Brookshire, and then Jalen Maiden, who's new to the program, came in January. Steve, I thought we had a lot of progress. I think all three of them, and that's one reason we're keeping the competition together. I think all three of them really did some good things. And then all three of them also had some days where, they got to be better. And so the competition, will continue. Sometime, I would think, early fall camp will make that final position. But if we went out there today, Lucas would be the guy who would get the nod, and then Jordan, and then Jalen. So happy with their progress. A lot of progress to be had through Skelly in individual drills during the summer.
Coach, you've done this a long time, and you've had many seasons over the course of your coaching career where you get toward the start of the season, you don't have the obvious guy that's ready to take over that quarterback position. You got a competition going on. What ultimately makes up your mind that this is the guy? Is it just is it a gut feeling? Is it a certain sense of leadership qualities? Is it just the ability to throw the ball accurately? What ultimately goes into a decision when you decide this is going to be my quarterback?
Yeah, and I think everything that you talked about there is part of it. The leadership abilities, the total grasp of the offense, and whether it's a play fake, on taking a shot down the field, or the RPO game, and getting us into the right protections. But really, it comes down to respect, and the respect that the teammates have. And then I spent some time with Brian Sipe the other day, and we were talking about, quarterback play, and talking about the accuracy and how important that is compared to arm strength and those kind of things. So I think all those things are part of it, Steve. And I'm just thrilled that all three of these guys have an unbelievable attitude. They are competitive. And like I said, there were times in spring that either one of them had a really good day, and then there were times where you'd say, hey, why'd you try and throw that ball when we have an opportunity to pick up the yardage for a first down by using your legs? And I think, that's one thing with all of them, Steve, that these guys are all athletic, and that gives us a little different presence than we've had before.
We're talking with Xtra football coach Brady Hoke joining us right now. Coach, new addition on your coaching staff, one of our favorite guys, Mike Goff, heading up your offensive line. There were two areas a lot of people were talking about where you need some new faces out there, offensive line and secondary, where you lost several great players. Let's talk about the offensive line right now and just a coaching philosophy that Mike Goff brings to this Aztecs team and where you are right now as far as finding the big guys up front to get this offense clicking.
Yeah, we lost a couple guys from a year ago, obviously in the offensive line. Mike Schmidt decided to make a move career-wise, and have nothing but respect for Schmitty and being an Aztec and all that kind of stuff. And it really, I've known Mike a long time. He volunteered for us when I was here in 2010. He was around the program, and then he stayed, I know, with Coach Long, and then went out and went to SC, and then 4 years, and then at Western Kentucky. And the timing couldn't have got better for us when the whole transition took effect. Mike brings a great deal of knowledge, great deal of respect that the kids have for him and what he's done, and really happy with how Mike is leading that charge. And just like at every position, there's always going to be some competition. And I think, we've got, Billy back, and Chris Martinez, Alama, Godino, and Zach Thomas. And then we've got some young guys who, Des Bissett, is a guy who's coming in, been here, knows the system. Brandon Crenshaw Dixon, another big body who's doing a great job. So really feel good that we'll have a starting five that's going to be represent that position in a real positive way.
And the secondary, and in modern, college football, you better have guys that can cover, because everyone is throwing the ball all over the place. But you got some big names to replace in that secondary. How did it look in spring practice?
Well, the funny part about it, to some degree, both Dwayne and Darren are now getting coached by my brother at Atlanta. So it's kind of, they've had all three Hokes, because Kyle, our safeties coach, my brother's son, my nephew, who coached them last year, and now they're getting coached by my brother John. So it's the secondary itself. I like how Taylor Hawkins and Trenton Thompson, both, who have played a lot of football for us, how they have gone through the spring, how they went through winter, spring, and now they're coaching the young guys up as we get started in this phase 3. And I think Pat McMorris, who started a game for us against Nevada when DJ had to go to a funeral, and then so Pat did a nice job in that game. Kyron White, Adonis Brown, Dallas Branch is a guy at a corner who we think can be very good. Noah Tumblin is a guy that we're really excited about. So the front six we feel probably best about when you look at our defense, because of the guys who are coming back, the guys who have played a lot of snaps, the intensity that these guys practice with. And I think the secondary, I've challenged both groups, the safeties and the Aztecs and the corners, and so have their coaches. So we're excited to see the progress as we go forward.
And one other question I want for you. Obviously, Aztec fans are so used to having that great spotlight running back over the last decade plus. So many big names have gone through the program. And Greg Bell a year ago had 537 yards rushing for the first 4 games to have the ankle injury. Is he healthy? Are we expecting to see Greg Bell be the feature back once again here in 2021?
Yeah, Greg is healthy. I think that group, when you look at it with Greg Bell, Chance Bell, Jordan Bird, Keegan, Jalen Armstead, who played a little bit for us as a true freshman, I think that's a really, really good group, and a really good competitive group, and a good character group. And, when I talked to Greg about what his future was going to be, he said, "Coach, I'm staying here. I want to win a championship for San Diego." And it tells you where his heart is, and it tells you, where his mindset is. So we're really excited about that whole group. Obviously, Greg, the first 4 games was lights out for us, and I think he'll be the same for us this year, and he'll stay healthy.
All right, final note. The getting back to normality, Coach. I mean, for guys like us that have been around for a while, this has really thrown us for a loop, right? We're so settled into our lives, and we have a certain routine and everything else, and the things we do, and all of a sudden, this COVID thing happens, how close are we to getting back to a semblance of normality that you and I have known over the years? Students back on the camps, all this. Where are we right now? And do you expect things to, Rick, look relatively normal once we get this football season underway in September?
Yeah. There's no doubt that we feel that way, that it's going to be more back to normal. I think, as things have continued to open up a little bit, I think, a little slower here in California than some other states, obviously. But I think, as things go forward, we're not as nearly restricted as we were during the fall. And so I feel good about it. I think we as an athletic department feel good about it. So, I think, like you said, and you keep reference us being old, but I think we really look like we're going to be back to normal.
I hope so, Coach, for your sake. Well, obviously, stay healthy, all your players. We cannot wait for the season to begin. As we mentioned, forget 2020. It's going to be a whole different show for the Aztecs in 2021. All the best, Coach.
Thanks, Steve. Appreciate it.
All right, there he is, Brady Hoke.